Your life is a constant game of consumption. There will be a point in time where you pass away. And when you pass away, your life will look a certain way. And it can look millions of different ways. You can be fat and depressed. You can be fat and happy. You can be skinny and fulfilled. There are millions of ways your life can look. And the way that your life looks at the end is just what you consume, because life is a constant consumption. You are always consuming something, whether that be food, water, videos, social media, books, thoughts, conversations. You're always consuming some form, or you're always consuming something. And that thing that you're consuming will either build you into the person you want to be or break you out of that person. And I think it's funny how many people are taking up fasting. Like, so many people are doing social media detox. They're doing fasting from foods, and they just kill the entire point of it, because when they fast, maybe they still smoke. You're not getting the health benefits. You're still harming yourself. Or maybe when you get done with your fast, you just go right back to how you ate before. Well, it killed the entire point of burning fat, maybe going through autophagy. When you go through a social media fast, okay? Well, you do that for 30 days and then you go right back to where you were. You just wasted 30 days. You didn't use any of that. See, it's not about what you're fasting from, it's what you're feasting on. That is something my pastor said a couple months ago during one of his sermons, and it stuck with me because it made me realize you don't need elimination. You need to switch things around. You don't need to eliminate things. You simply need to swap them out. You already eat 4 times a day. The foods you eat just aren't good. Swap them out with things that make you better. If you look like a pear right now, you have rolls coming off the side of you. If you are depressed about it, you're unhappy, well, guess what? You don't need to start fasting. You don't need to cut anything off. You just need to switch your habits, because you're always consuming. So switch the thing you're consuming from something harmful to something beneficial, right? Swap the alcohol with water. Swap the meals of high fat, high carbohydrates, high sugars with something that is more complex carbohydrates, something that is more healthy fats, right? Swap things out, because you're always going to be consuming. You can't eliminate your consumption in this life. You just need to swap what you feast upon. And I was actually going through this last night where I was thinking about this. I was diving in, and I realized my entire life up to this point has been built upon what I have consumed. Everything. My mindset I currently have, my body, my physique, is all because of what I consumed. It is all about what I put into myself. And the beautiful thing about that is you have control. You have control. Right now I read about 5 books a month. You could probably tell by the stack behind me. And I swapped that out. I swapped it out from scrolling, and I noticed swapping out scrolling with reading has enhanced my life. So I will continue to do that. I also noticed that swapping out the meals I used to eat, McDonald's, Burger King, everything like that when I was younger, to more healthy and physique building meals, things like beef and rice, eggs, sourdough. Those things built my body into a way that I am proud of. So I realized last night, all of these memories I was having, all of these thought processes, my experiences so far in life, it was all just a byproduct of what I have allowed myself to consume. And I realized the beautiful thing is you can be anything you want. You just have to change what you consume. So many people out there. Maybe you are a Christian looking to grow your relationship with God. Maybe you are a person who is trying to get in shape. Whoever you are out there, understand your life can change in any direction you want it to be if you just switch what you consume. You just switch what you consume. Because a lot of us, we put ourselves in this mental rut. We look at ourselves in the mirror and we hate the way we look. We're despised by how we have excess fat around our chest. We have less definition in our arms. we don't have the abs we want, and we start thinking we need to go on fast, we need to cut everything out, we need to just bump up the cardio, we need to do everything differently, and it's not that complicated. You just need to swap stuff out. You already are eating. Just make sure the meals you're eating are satiating, full of protein and nutrients. You already consume liquids throughout the day. They're probably not good. You're drinking Snapple, you're drinking alcohol. Just swap those two things out with water, and all of a sudden your life is transformed. It's so much easier to be happy with yourself because all it was swapping out what you were feasting upon. And I feel like somebody out there needs to hear this, because you are putting too much stress on yourself. You are putting too much worry in your mind. You are wondering how you're going to get to point B, when in reality, you already are there. Like, you already are there. You're doing the consumption. You just need to swap the consumption out, right? You're wondering, how am I going to build $1 million business? How am I going to have a 6-pack and bench 315? Well, guess what? You already do the things that matter. You're consuming, which keeps you alive. Now you just need to optimize your consumption. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. We all have these same opportunities given to us, in the sense where we all have the ability to control what goes into our minds, our bodies. We may not have been controlled in the sense of what cards we were dealt. We don't have control over that, but we have control over what we're going to do with what we were dealt. And you need to stop worrying so much about, how am I going to get to point C? How am I going to get a 6-pack? How am I going to get a relationship? When you just need to start thinking about the things you need to consume to get there. It's not this end goal off in the distance. It's simply just optimization of what you consume on a day-to-day basis, right? There are inputs and then there are outputs. When you consume good meals, you go to the gym, and you get good sleep, your output will be a better looking physique, a healthier blood work panel, and a longer lifespan. It's really simple. But you're so focused on this output that you're forgetting it's all about the input of what you consume. One thing that really is on the generation today is consumption of social media, consumption of TV, and it doesn't matter if you do a social media fast and you're still watching 4 hours of TV. You're just killing the purpose of that. What matters is if you swap out the time of social media to things that benefit you. I've struggled with scrolling all my life, really. When I was given a phone, I always was scrolling. I was always watching things. I remember when I worked for my dad. He has rental businesses, and we would drive an hour up to some of his properties to work on them. I would watch gaming videos the entire way up there. This was from my 5th grade year to my 8th grade year. And it's not like I was worked 30-hour days. I just did minimal stuff when I was younger, cleaned up the area, learned construction. But it's interesting how when I was younger, I consumed these things, and it really kind of damaged my early childhood because I didn't have the output I wanted. I didn't have the good grades. I didn't have a great mentality. And obviously you can say, well, you were young, give yourself some grace. But the difference is I knew people who were where I wanted to be when I was younger. I saw my friends playing sports, actually succeeding in it. I saw them having leaner bodies. They actually could keep up on the field. I was out there with rolls and I could not run for a very long time. My grades were suffering, and I always wondered why. And I realized it's simply what I was consuming. If I did the same thing now, if I started watching TV 4 hours a day, I would be the same person, just with a different number over my age. Right? It's just what you consume. And if you're struggling with social media, if you're struggling with TV consumption, stop trying to fast from it and just swap what you do with it. Instead of watching 4 hours of social media, maybe start watching 4 hours of productive content, things that give you knowledge, things that build you up. Maybe start reading books. Start consuming more information given to you by people who have won in areas of life that you want to win. Guess what? This is more boring. Like, this is not fun. There are days where I read and I'm like, dude, what the heck? Like, why did I just spend this long learning this? But it's 10 times better than filling my mind with things that just rot my potential. And I just felt like this message needed to be put out there because it's not fast. The answer is not fasting from it. The answer is not elimination. The answer is swapping. If you are struggling with something productivity-wise, mentally-wise, physically, stop thinking in elimination terms because you will always be consuming. You will always be taking stuff in. It is about what you are taking in. The human was made to consume. God made us to consume, to enjoy, right? We were created to enjoy good foods. We were created to multiply, right? That is creation, that is consumption, and then production. We are made to produce. We are made to consume. So it's not about elimination of your consumption. It's about swapping what you consume to create the life you want. It's all an equation. And I think if you can understand that, you will not only succeed a lot easier, but you will have a lasting success that doesn't go away. Because when you understand life is all about consumption and it is all about what you are consuming, not necessarily what you're fasting from, but what you're feasting on, then you will see the results you want. If you don't have a good relationship with God, instead of going on the news in the morning, swap that out with the Bible. If you're struggling with having sex with your partner, instead of having date nights inside of their apartment, have date nights out in the public. Go out to a restaurant, go walking in the park. It's just what you swap. Just swap it out. If it's not giving you the results, swap it out with something else. You're watching too much social media, swap it out with some books. Swap it out with some meditation. Because you're always going to be existing, you're always going to be consuming. Consume the thing that builds you into the person that you want to become, not the person that you swap it out with the person you want to become, not the person that you're feeling in the moment or your desires want you to become, right? Your desires are always fleeting. Your flesh always wants what's bad for you. Swap it out with who you truly want to become, and your life will change. I just felt like that this message needed to be put out there. There was somebody out there who needed to hear this, and I hope that this message affected you in that way. If you enjoyed this message, please subscribe for more. Here at Noah Frank, we are creating people into the person that God has always created them to be. Now go out there and kill the day.